Meltdowns can leave parents feeling panicked, frozen, and unsure of what to do next, especially when you're parenting a neurodivergent or emotionally intense child. In this episode, we break down what actually helps before a meltdown, during a meltdown, and after a meltdown. So you're not trying to regulate, teach, discipline, and fix everything all at once. You'll learn how to recognize early warning signs, why certain responses escalate instead of calm, and when your child's brain is actually ready for learning and problem solving. This episode offers a clear, compassionate roadmap for supporting big emotions without making things worse and without losing yourself in the process. Ever feel like one meltdown turns your day upside down? Are you walking on eggshells with emotions and challenging behaviors? Need peace in your home? You're in the right place. I'm Jamie, mom of 7, professional counselor and parent coach. I've learned how to turn chaos into calm, stop meltdowns, and enjoy time as a family. If you're looking for effective tools, practical ways to connect with your uniquely wired child, and parenting tools that align with faith and family values, you've found it. So reheat that coffee, start that laundry fluffing again, and let's jump in. Hey there, I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you're enjoying this 10 podcast episode on some of parents' most commonly asked questions related to your child's emotional dysregulation, meltdowns, or challenging behaviors. And we're only halfway through the series, so be sure to follow the show so that you will know when those next 5 episodes drop. Today's episode is an important one because by now in this series, you understand why meltdowns happen. You know your child isn't choosing this, and you know timing matters. And you're starting to see why nothing works when emotions are high. But now comes the question parents ask next. Okay, so what do I actually do? If meltdowns leave you feeling panicked or unsure of what to do next, this episode will give you a clear roadmap for when to support, when to step back, and when teaching and training actually works. So you're not trying to do everything all at once. Now, I want to say this up front because it matters. This episode is not about giving you more to do. It's about helping you understand what matters when. Think of this episode as a roadmap. No, not things that you have to do perfectly, but clarity around where to put your energy and what can wait. And here's why that matters so much. When you know what comes first, what comes next, and what belongs later, your child begins to feel that steadiness too. They start to trust the process. They start to trust you. And over time, that trust becomes part of what helps them regulate. This might just be the episode that you save, share, and come back to when things feel hard. So let's walk through this together. Before the meltdown. Now, when we talk about before a meltdown, we're not talking about doing it all perfect. We're actually talking about awareness. Before a meltdown is where parents often miss the most important information, not because they aren't paying attention, but because the signs are subtle. This is where ideas like body budget, early warning signs, and pattern tracking become incredibly helpful. Every child gives signals when their system is starting to struggle. It might be getting quieter, getting more hyper, shorter, choppier answers, irritability, speech and tone that don't match. For our family, we noticed our child could tolerate about 2 stressors. And then the third stressor would push him over the edge. But if we only focused on what happened right before the meltdown, that third stressor, we missed the buildup entirely. So before a meltdown, your work looks like noticing patterns, tracking triggers or stressors or stressful situations, and paying attention to capacity today and in this moment, not yesterday or even earlier today. This is where calm moments matter so much. Calm moments are where you build that emotional vocabulary, where you practice what to do when emotions start rising, and you create that shared language. It might be things like a thumbs up when things are going well, things sideways when something's off, but maybe they don't really know what it is. And thumbs down is maybe your kiddo's way of asking for help before things explode. But you have to develop these systems in the calm. This is where the work you've already been doing in calm moments really matters. And just as important, before a meltdown is where your regulation matters too. Because how steady you are going into a meltdown determines how steady you can be when things get hard. This calm will be what you need to carry into the meltdown. So what about in the moment support? Yep, during the meltdown. Let's talk about that moment because it's oftentimes the moment parents find the hardest. During a meltdown, here's the anchor I want you to remember. Your job during a meltdown is simply support and understanding. That's it. We laid the foundation for this last time, and now we're applying it. Our job in the moment is not to fix, not to teach, not to discipline. In the moment, the question isn't, how do I stop this? It's, does this choice increase safety or increase threat? To communicate calm, safety, and understanding. Yes, this is where many parents often get tripped up, myself included. We use too many words. We try to convince with logic. We threaten consequences because we think if they just hear it, it will make them not want that to happen and then they'll stop. We explain why something shouldn't feel this big or doesn't need to make them this upset. And I want to gently free you from something here. If there is one thing I could release you from in this moment, it's the pressure to look like the in control parent. Because when we try to look in control, we often default to teaching, reasoning, or disciplining. And none of these work when a child is dysregulated. During a meltdown, fewer words help. Calm presence matters more than solutions. And your tone, posture, and pacing. And don't forget space, communicate safety. Sometimes support looks like staying close. Sometimes it looks like giving them space, but just staying nearby. It might be staying around the corner where you're just out of eyeshot, but you know you can keep them safe. Sometimes it means a hug or letting them sit on your lap, while for others, support might include no touch at all. And it's a hard, fast no, don't touch them. And here's a quick example. Let's say your child has been looking forward to going to a movie for weeks. They're tired, they haven't eaten, their room needs to be picked up before you go, and you hear them kind of losing their mind in the bedroom as they're supposed to be picking up. As they become dysregulated, it may feel logical to say, well, if you don't clean your room, we're not going. But in that moment, their body budget is already in the red. They're tired, they haven't eaten, and they're overwhelmed. That consequence won't motivate. It will only escalate. And all they hear is not going to the movie because their system is under threat and feels like everything is falling apart. So the choice becomes, do I push the consequence now and manage the explosion that follows, or do I support regulation first and handle the rest later? That's the kind of decision this episode is meant to help you make with confidence. Now, I want to pause here for a moment because if you're listening and thinking, I understand this, but when it actually happens is when I get a little bit lost. You're not alone. And that's exactly why I created the Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program. And I'd like to share this. Parenting an emotionally intense child can feel complicated, like you're juggling meltdowns, defiance, and stress every single day. But it doesn't have to be that hard. Imagine this. The next time your child melts down, instead of spiraling into chaos, you know exactly how to respond with calm and confidence. Sounds good, right? Well, that's what the Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program is all about. In this program, I teach simple tools that you can use right in the moment. Tools that don't require hours of reading, expensive appointments, or complicated systems. I'll even show you ways to create calm in less time than it takes to reheat your coffee. Parenting with calm and confidence doesn't have to feel impossible. It can be easier than you think. Join me inside at calmconnectionparent.com and let's get you back on this parenting journey with calm, confidence, and connection. If that sounds like something you need, you'll find more information in the show notes or at calmconnectionparenting.org. Now, let's get back to this roadmap. After a meltdown. After a meltdown is where parents often rush, and timing still matters more than we think. After doesn't mean immediately when they become quiet, or as soon as the tears stop, or when you feel ready. It means when your child's nervous system is calm enough to reconnect before you process the behavior, before you ask for apologies, before you teach or use those consequences. Repair the connection first. This helps your child know I'm not in trouble for having emotions, or you're still on my team. Once regulation has returned, then learning becomes possible. This is where you can name those emotions together, help your child put words to their experience or what's going wrong, where you can practice that communication and you can repair what went wrong. I felt angry when cleaning my room felt too hard, or I was overwhelmed and I didn't know what to do. This connection paves the way for sincere apologies, problem solving, and growth. The biggest mistake parents make here is just the rushing to rehash, rushing to demand apologies, rushing to issue consequences without considering whether teaching or training would be more effective. Now, we're going to talk more about discipline and how to teach skills without escalating in the next episode. But before we wrap up, here's your quick win for the week, and this one is all about preparation. This week, focus on noticing the small signals your child gives when things are starting to go sideways. Ask yourself, what do I see before the meltdown? What changes in their tone, words, or behavior? What stressors were already present? And I encourage you just to jot those down. Often the meltdown didn't start where we thought it did. It started 2 or 3 moments or situations and struggles earlier. This awareness is incredibly powerful because it helps you support sooner, to work smarter, not harder. So let's take a big breath together. If today gave you a clearer picture of what matters when, that's the goal. You don't have to do everything perfectly. You don't have to fix everything in the moment. You just need to know when to prepare, when to support, and when to teach. And that clarity builds confidence for you and your child. In the next episode, we're going to talk about why what many of us were taught about discipline might not work here, why traditional discipline often backfires for emotionally intense and neurodivergent kids, and what actually builds self-discipline instead. It's a shift in thinking episode, and it clears the way for a healthier approach and fresh perspective. Until then, remember, you're not doing this wrong. You're learning a different way to parent, one that's rooted in understanding, timing, and connection. And that kind of parenting builds trust that lasts, and it paves the way to a lasting and a meaningful connection. That's it for today. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you take a quick minute to follow and share it with a friend who's looking for tools to parent those big emotions? And don't forget to join the Calm Connection Parenting Facebook group. This is where I can connect with you and offer support as you walk this journey. All right, I'll let you decide whether to fluff or fold that laundry now. But I'll meet you back here next week. Until then, keep calm and parent on.